So over these last few days, we've seen just three things that the Reformation gave us. First of all, it brought to light again the freedom that we have in the gospel. Freedom from having to perform to be acceptable. In Christ we can be at rest. Secondly, it gave us back the Bible, that we might know God and the ways of His kingdom. And thirdly, the Reformation was a great leveller. Luther's dying words in 1546 were said to be these: "We are all beggars." In other words, whoever we are, we're all completely dependent on God. So what exactly happened on that fateful day, the 31st of October, 1517? Many historians think that Luther posted his 95 Theses by nailing them to the door of the castle church in the town of Wittenberg. That would be the equivalent of posting something online that then goes viral. Well, whether he did that or not, what we do know is that Luther had no intention of starting a fight with the church of his day. He loved it and wanted to see it changed. And we also know that there was a lot that he didn't understand. His thinking and his preaching developed hugely over the next 29 years. But on that day, he simply acted on the conviction that God had placed in his heart. We also need to realize that Luther and others like him lived in a world where the church was dominant. And it took enormous courage, therefore, to speak out in the way that he and so many others did. They paid a huge cost to follow the call of God on their lives. They were taking their lives in their hands. Luther had no idea of what lay ahead of him, no idea of the cost of obeying God's call, and no idea how God would use him, an ordinary, unknown man, to change the world. It's an inspiring story and incredibly relevant to our day. Do we, like Luther, have a passion to call the church and the world back to God and His ways? Will we, like Luther, speak with the conviction that God has placed in our hearts, even if there's so much that we still don't understand? None of us are likely to become as well known as Luther, but in God's hands, we too can change the world around us. Do we fear the cost? Or like Luther, will we entrust that to God? May God grant that in our church, in our world, in our time, that we too may see Reformation.